Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon. Hello to everyone. I am trying something different today. Anyone figure out what's missing today? I know. I got Rosalie in chat. She might actually, she's the StreamYard guru. Anyone figure out what's missing today? And what is added? I left my volume up on there. So I took something away and I added something back. Okay, I'm doing really good right now on that. So I actually decided, you know what? I was talking to Rosalie the other day and we were talking about StreamYard and the ins and outs of it and all that. And we were talking about that countdown at the beginning. And I'm like, you know what? Do you guys really need a countdown? I mean, come on now. This is not like going to see Duran Duran in concert at Red Rocks or something like that, okay? This is, I mean, come on, how much? I need an opening act, something like that or something now. So I thought, now, tonight, let's just go on. I might have to talk a little bit more. You know what? It's not a light. And by the way, Rosalie, hi, my dear. And I wish it was a light behind me. It's actually a window. And I tried closing the curtain, but we got cathedral windows here, so I actually got to find a different place. It's just I don't have a desk anywhere else, so I've got to figure something else out because that light, as we're getting into summer, things are starting to change, and it's not good. I tried to do this, actually, if I can cover that, but then it washes me out so much. So, yeah, later on as the sun goes down, I'll show you guys the light without the bright. Hey, Cindy's an angel coming down from heaven. I mean, Loco's the angel coming down from heaven. Yeah, see what I do. And also, but yeah, I love this house. I mean, this house we moved into, about 20 years ago. The problem is it's all cathedral ceilings. And I actually did that. Shoot. And I'm still getting, I'm still running into issues. Let's see if I could do that again. Well, I'll try it that way. Yeah, it's a little better. We'll see. I got to go around and play. I've actually got to see if I could get permission to move this desk. I don't know if that's going to work because it's actually my dad's old desk. And that's always a little bit difficult to get approval to change things that have been here forever. So, hey, Susan T, how you doing, my dear? And Catlin has joined us. So, yeah, no, I mean, I love this house. I love the open ceilings. I mean, if you guys can kind of see the ceilings and what they're all like up there. Hey, you get a tour of my house. How's that? And, but they definitely, yeah, I've got gorgeous mountains behind me. I mean, gorgeous mountains on that side, and on that side, I've got the ocean. But yeah, the sun keeps changing. It's always fun. But so how are you guys doing? We got to Friday. Everyone survived the week. We were wondering, okay, last Friday, we're like, okay, what's the week going to be like? Are we going to be able to pull this off or not? Tibby has joined us. Hey there, Tibby girl. And Gulf Coast Mama is driving while she's listening. Drive safe, my dear. We love you to death. And also definitely drive safe. And we will see you at some time, whether it be during this or later on. We will go ahead and do some stuff. We got Cantina later. Sorry, let me pop this open. Catlin, once school shut down and my work closed, we got used to, we got even more information. Good, yay. Catlin read the comments up top. Thank you, girl. And you move the camera to your left so that the gray, you know what? I need to get an external camera. I'm actually right now using the camera from my laptop. I set myself up goals as I got to certain sub-levels because I'm kind of saving up money right now. I do consultant work for nursing homes and stuff like that, and I do some side work and all, but I'm trying to save up money for different things. So my two things top on my list right now are camera and getting that good old-fashioned external microphone. And my brother might be able to help me with one of those. So, but thank you, Rosalie. I appreciate the suggestion. I definitely do. Because the other thing I've thought about is moving back upstairs. I used to do that for old shows that I used to do. I love it down here, but it's not the best location, to be honest. So Catlin, yeah, TGI Friday. It's the best. You don't need to stop, Rosalie, because I love you to death, my dear. And also, Scout's here. And yeah, everyone is doing great. I mean, so far it looks like people survived the week. We got everyone coming in. Lots more labor. Yeah, I get you. And as we get into this subject, it's amazing. I think the thing when we first thought about lockdowns, we did not realize they were going to affect us quite like they are doing it. I know I myself was a little concerned about that, and I'll explain a little reason why as we get into it. But, well, actually, I'll explain that now. My background is, like I said, I'm a nursing home administrator, but as part of that, my bachelor's is in theater, and a surprise, surprise. And but my master's degree is actually in public health. So when this whole COVID thing popped up, I was in my zone. I mean, healthcare, public health. I mean, this is like everything I had studied all of those years in school, all right now. Hey, Katie K, thanks for joining us. I think I'm getting everyone. If I missed you, I really am sorry if I missed you, but I think I've got everyone as they came in. So this was awesome. It was a chance for me to really take a look and see when I took my classes like epidemiology and all the public health stuff, how does all this come into play in real life? So I was really excited and I was following things at first, and then I started getting worried. This is way, way back when everyone was like, what are we going to do? And I got concerned because I started hearing the lockdowns and I knew we needed something. But the one thing I did not hear people talking about, and this is going all the way back to that, was the mental health side. Yes, we've got to lock people down. Okay, and we've got to have some way to control what is coming in and out and stuff like that so it doesn't go overboard. But you get into this scale between what is better and what is worse. Your risk management is what we call it. And I'm looking at, okay, the physical concerns versus the mental health concerns. And initially with COVID, especially at the beginning, the physical concerns were super high. I mean, we were talking about rates of spread that were just astronomical, okay, compared to what normally we deal with. We were dealing with concerns that it would spread into youth and stuff like that, things that kind of are happening on that level, but luckily it's lessened at the same time. So we went that direction. Okay, let's start locking things down. Let's limit what is happening out there. The problem is we started focusing so far on the physical, we forgot about the mental health side. At the same time, we were dealing with all this other stuff like, okay, getting masks, vents, things like that. We needed to be also focusing on how are we going to provide mental health care to people who are dealing with being alone for the first time. Some of us are introverts. Hello. And being locked down was not as hard for me as it was for many people. But for extroverts, for those people who were alone at home and had no bubble, I had a bubble. I had my mom. So we could sit here and talk and watch movies together. But what about those people who truly have no bubble that they lived with? I don't know how many of you in chat are like that. Okay, I know of at least one person in chat that lives alone. That affects you differently. So I think it's definitely, I'm going to kind of go back into chat and look at some of the different comments that were said here. I know Catlin was talking about once her school shut down and work was closed, they got used to staying home. I got to the point you hardly ever left the house. How many of you guys actually ever ordered from Bite Squad or you did your Instacart deliveries for your grocery? How many of you are still doing that even now because it became very, very easy to do? But at least you had work. Yeah, Catlin, I agree. Having work was the biggie. There were a lot of people who didn't have the work on top of that. And that's going to affect their mental health status and how they deal with everything. Tibby, reason COVID switched you to online learning, set you back a semester in school, never had. Yes, I mean, my niece was supposed to be in school in college. She only had one semester, and she's basically like, you know what, this is so much of a change right now. I don't know if I can handle it at this point. Other people, I mean, not school related, but I do theater. We had to switch to online theater. I mean, how many people in theater have ever thought that they'd be performing a show sitting on their own in front of a camera like this without an audience to feed off of and actors to feed off of? It was the weirdest thing ever for people. So definitely, Tibby, the online school bit was huge because, as any teacher or anyone with kids know, more than one child knows for sure, every child learns differently. You get a child who can't learn in this type of situation, it's going to become a problem, definitely, quickly, because at least at schools, hopefully teachers can look at the different learning styles and make them work. But when you're sitting in front of the camera, it's much harder. Catlin, I work in a library. We've been moving all the books off the shelves, moving shelf. Oh my God. So you guys are getting back into life. And that's the best part. And we are getting back into life. It feels so good. I went to a game night 2 weeks ago where some people were that I hadn't seen in over a year. And I got to hug them. And I don't know how many of you guys are huggers out there. But I did not realize, I don't think we stopped hugging for about a minute or so. It was just something like all of a sudden that physical touch. And it wasn't a romance, it was friendship. And it was just the best thing ever. I mean, it was better than drink or drugs, to be honest. Just that ability to know you're with someone that you care about and you could actually physically touch them and not just have your Zoom meetings once every couple weeks. So, Scout, my lockdown here in New York was actually positive. I took negative, and that's something we're going to talk about, Scout. Because a lot of us we focus on the bad side of everything that happened, and there was definitely bad. But there was also very positive stuff. Gulf Coast Mama, Catlin talked about the homeschooling. Gulf Coast Mama, extremely extroverted teens barely left their room, developed anxiety. They opened back school. Okay, yeah, and we're going to actually talk. I think our teens really got affected very hard on this. Pia, hush. And let's see, I was lucky that we got paid for our basic hours while we were, yes. I think those companies that were able to pay their employees, and not all were able to, and I understand the companies and I understand the employees. I've been on both sides. And I really do feel for them very, very much if they could not get the money. And for the companies, I mean, thank God there were the actual loans through the government and all. But yeah, so I'm trying to think, we're supposed to all go camping tomorrow. I honestly don't know how children did everything in the past. Yeah. I mean, Tibby, I was talking to a lot of kids. I felt so bad for those kids who were seniors last year and this year, who were depending on, maybe they were sports. They needed that last year of basketball or football or theater or dance or whatever to be able to get their scholarships. I felt so bad for them. Those who had to do prom. I mean, I felt bad for me for having a birthday and not being able to do anything. But prom? Think back to those. Those are those rites of passage, and they totally did not get it. So I wanted to talk today about this whole idea of what happened. And some of this I'm going to talk, I actually put out a message to everyone on Discord, a couple different Discords, asking for feedback. So got some of that information to add in, but I also wanted to share some actual statistics that are coming out. As I started looking, I was like, wow, this mental health thing was something that no one planned for. Again, no one ever plans for mental health. It's the reason why I'm talking about this. We talked about this in, I think it was Will's Discord, that we hide mental health issues. Okay, people don't want to talk. When I brought up this whole COVID bit, and we don't talk about mental health. It's one of those stigmas that are still out there, and it's got to stop. Okay, mental health is no different than any other physical health issue, and we got to get over that. We've got to be able to go and tell a friend, okay, or someone we're meeting for the first time that, yeah, I'm having a rough day, and it's fine. And that's what this is about, because you know what? If these numbers are what they really are, It's more important than ever that we get rid of this mental health stigma, and we get rid of it quick. Now, before I start, I do want to say one thing. Okay, I am not, I'm not monetized. Yeah, I got what, 122 subscribers. Of course I'm not monetized. But I'm going to use words today. Okay, I try not to give words power in my life. Okay, that doesn't matter what that word is. I'm just that way. Okay, words hold power, and I'm not going to give it the power. So I know YouTube doesn't like certain words. I'm going to use the certain words today. Okay, because they're important as part of this discussion about mental health. So if I do use words like suicide, suicide. Okay, it is a noun. That's what it is. The act behind it is something else, but the word is not. Okay, no. For those of you who may be having issues, please consider, I did go into my Discord and add a bunch of links. Please call those links. Please take those steps. Please speak up to friends. You've got a lot of people in this community here right now that are here for you, and they are going to be there for you. Okay, we want to make sure you are safe and you are heard. So please think those things through, and please feel free to speak up. And also, getting into this, okay, the actual effect. What was the actual effect of COVID? Okay, we had our lockdowns. We're dealing with trying to get numbers down, things like that. But in the meantime, we have other numbers raising. So Medical News Today, journal that's out, okay, medical journal that was out on March 11th, 2021, did this awesome story about this subject. There's another article out there by Nature magazine that was amazingly put together also. What they realized is that scientists are seeing not just an increase in depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues here in the United States, but it's global. Okay, this is a global thing that's happening right now because COVID was global. It is global. Catlin, you're down to 11 cases there. Oh my God, that's amazing. That is awesome news, actually. The U.S. Census actually does try to gather information on stuff like this. And they actually did take a look at the numbers. If you look at the January to June time of 2019 as compared to December 2020, they looked at depression. And those time periods, so basically 1 year apart type thing, okay, give or take. It went from depression rates of 11%, so 1 in every 10 people feeling depressed, to last December, 42%. So put it this way, almost half, okay? 4.2 of every 10 people were feeling depressed. That's a huge jump, something none of us actually considered was, we thought, oh yeah, go up a little bit. But that type of jump is huge. What also that shows me, though, is that people are in tune with their bodies now. If you had asked that question 50 years ago, I don't think we would see that type of number because people would not have wanted to say anything. Now we're willing to say it. They did the same thing. Nature magazine did the same thing for the UK. And the UK also saw a huge jump. Their jump wasn't quite as dramatic as, say, the U.S. jump was, and there could be reasons behind it. It could be just approach to mental health. It could be people being less, loose-lipped about talking about it, things like that. But their numbers went from 10% in 2019 to 19% in 2020. So again, it almost doubled, 10 to 20%. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. And take it a next step further. We've looked at the US, we've looked at the UK. What about combining? I mentioned that this is a global issue now. Okay, globally, they're seeing those numbers increase by 14% for anxiety alone. And hello, thank you. I love you dearly, but you need to sit. And so, yeah, someone has to. I gave you a Chewy. You've got your Chewy. So yeah, for US, UK, Australia, and Canada, anxiety rates have increased by 14% in that time frame. So we start seeing these changes occurring. Those are just two of them. And they are really coming down to this idea that so many of us lost control over our lives. We lost so much ability to speak with other people, because I don't know about you guys, but I tend to talk to my friends about my mental health issues more than I speak to my own family. It's just a comfort level, to be honest. Hello, Miss Sandra. We love you, my dear. And no worries. And another area that they saw things increasing was in June 2020, they did a study and they looked at substance abuse and suicide. And again, no problem, KDK. Listen on and we got you, girl. And they realized that in June 2020, 13% of people reported new or increased use of substances. Okay, substances can be legal or illegal. Okay, because there are many that are on both sides now. So it could be alcohol. It could be illegal drugs, hard illegal drugs. It could be things like marijuana, CBD, all those things. We saw a 13% increase in the number of people who were utilizing that for the first time or increasing their use of it. They also asked the question to people about suicide. Okay, and suicide is what probably out of all these numbers scared me the most when I saw it. They asked people, have you felt suicidal in the last 30 days? That number hit 11% for the general group that they asked and 26% in young adults. That was mind-numbing to me, that 1 in 4 young adults during the lockdown were seriously contemplating suicide. I'm not sure if they mentioned anything. Hello, Miss Cristola. And I'm not sure if they were asking them, did you have a plan or did you just think about it or anything like that? But the numbers themselves are scary. And so we definitely are seeing this change. Okay, mental health is being affected for many of us. I think every one of us have had it. We've talked about it. Okay, when I talked in YouTube, we talked about exactly that, how it has affected us. And these are just some of the things. I'm not going to use names or anything like that, but a lot of people got back to me with comments on how it affected them. And I had one person approach me and say, you know, I had a friend who she and her husband, or he and her wife, I don't know which way it went, but they decided to get divorced. Now, divorces happen every day. That's something we're used to. But the reason why the divorce progressed to that level was because lockdown showed the real person behind. Because a lot of times, if you think about it, when we're going to work and we're doing this and we're doing that, to be honest, we only see our family for short amounts of time. Okay, unless you have kids or something like that. But even then, you're really not getting to know the real person because you have so much going on in your life. So they actually started to see a side of their spouse that they never expected to see. And they had to come to terms with, you know what, is this, now that we've seen this, we can't unsee it. So what do we do about it? Can we deal with it, or do we have to get divorced? Do we take that step? And they chose that step. Another person mentioned the frickin' masks. I don't know if anyone actually enjoyed those frickin' masks. I mean, I know in some countries they wear them before everything. Sorry, I'm trying to find exactly the best place to sit until that sun goes down some. And but those masks were hell. Even those of us, I made masks, and now, okay, I was part of one of the groups that would make them for the hospitals and all that. And they were hell. I mean, for those of you with facial, I've got rosacea, would set my rosacea off every time. If you had problems breathing, asthma, it set issues with that off all the time. This person who spoke to me talked about how the air would kind of, you'd breathe out and pop back in, and then it'd pop back up into your eyes, and your eyes would start watering. And Catlin, yes, when it's cold outside, not like I had no cold outside, but anyhow, I believe you when you say this. Okay, they can come in handy then. And but the masks were definitely an issue, and that could actually lead to physical issues that came out of it. The next 3 comments that came out was actually about kids. And this is where I really recognize that, as you guys all know, oopsie, I lost my camera. Let's get my camera started back up. There, welcome back. And also, I don't have kids. I've got my pets, but that doesn't quite work. And, but I saw, and I was worried for kids from day one of this. Okay, my last job, I worked with children in nursing homes. And there were things that scared the hell out of me about masks. I've mentioned it before. We have a certain time frame where children are learning from facial expressions. They're learning how to read our facial expressions, how to react to the facial expressions. And when all of a sudden, all they're seeing is this all the time, are they learning anything about the facial expressions, okay, or anything like, they're learning eyes, but they're not getting the full experience. And I worry about those kids. We're not going to know how this is going to affect them for decades, to be honest. There are going to be studies being done on all of this for decades, if not longer, generations potentially, because even the kids right now who grow up and have kids, is it going to affect their kids? Because they're going to raise their children based off of things that happened right now with them. So, so one person talked about they had children who were school age, and they had to figure out how to meet those needs. Okay, how do you meet the needs of their social needs, their educational needs, the patience needed for distance learning, okay, virtual learning, creating new routines. I don't know, but I would think it would be hard to wake your kids up when they know they could just do school from here, especially if it wasn't virtual and you were doing homeschooling. Okay, yes, Christola, exactly. The kids that miss prom, they miss graduation. Okay, the depression. And no, and we talked about, but we're actually going to keep talking about it because it's important, actually, Christola. No, so thank you for bringing that up. The young kids, as I mentioned. Okay, so a couple of you guys out there have young children. And you did mention about their social interaction and the concern that you have for them with their progression and learning social interaction, even with each other. How many times we used to talk about play dates? Okay, your kids aren't in school, but you would have play dates set up. You couldn't do play dates. And I don't think a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old is going to sit here on YouTube and have the same sort of play date that we have here on YouTube. Okay, it doesn't work quite that way. So, and lastly, the group Christola is talking about, the older children, the teens. Okay, many of you, I had 2 or 3 different people talk about their children are in that older group. And they were worried about how it would affect them, not only just missing these milestones, but also how they interacted with people. Okay, the level of responsibility is changing. Many of you guys had to work and you had older kids who had to watch the younger kids a lot more now. And they're getting, Pia, hush, they're getting more frustrated. And they're having to go to other areas to talk and get their support because they need that support also. So one person mentioned how they had a child, an older child who got online and was looking for support online and found some not too nice people. And because of that, they are now dealing with issues. They're having to go to maybe therapy. They're having to work on self-esteem issues, trust issues, all those other things that they would not have had to do if they hadn't had to take that step that they did. And so this has affected a lot of us here. Okay, I myself, I mentioned at the top of this thing in the comments, emotionally wasn't as much for me. For me, it was a physical thing. I found that I was not doing as much physical stuff. I was sitting around all the time. Okay. Actually, I was laying around in bed a lot of times, watching, binging TV and all. And as some of you guys know, I developed extensive bilateral pulmonary embolisms. We could not figure out what caused them. We still can't figure out what caused them. Okay, I'm still healing from them. And one of the thoughts we have considered is, was my lack of activity adding to the development of those? So wide-ranging effects here. So next question, though, comes, we know how it's affecting us now. We know how it's affecting us in all the different communities, our own personal, here on YouTube, all that. Who, though, is being affected? Okay, everyone, yes. But there are certain groups that it looks like were affected more than others. Okay, first of all, younger people were affected more than older people. Interesting. The one group that we were trying to protect during this whole thing were the older people. And yes, they were being affected by the physical side of COVID. Okay, catching COVID, the danger of that for them. However, the mental health side of COVID is the youth, and not just youth, young. Okay, I'm talking about the younger you are, young adults, middle-aged adults even to some degree too. Okay, and that could be from resilience. The older you get, okay, many of us can say the longer we've been around, the more resilient we get. The more, oh shit, I've been through that. That just happened again. Okay, I survived it once before, I'll survive it again. That type of thing. So that's the thought behind that, is that our elderly have been through so much. They can bounce back very quickly because they know, as my dad used to tell me all the time, I get so frustrated about politics or this or that or whatever. And he'd always be telling me, hey, Loco, you know, this has happened before. We've gone through all this crap before and we came out on the other end there. It's going to happen again. We're going to be fine. That's how they were able to think throughout this process. And another interesting group was women versus men on the young area, not in general, okay, but on that young group that got affected more. Younger women were affected more than younger men with the mental health side. Now, thoughts behind that? I mean, throw ideas in chat, guys. You don't need to just sit here. I mean, you got ideas, throw them in chat and I'll pop it up for sure. I was trying to think of ideas myself. Okay, I think maybe one idea is us women tend to be a little bit more vocal about mental health issues. Maybe the men have been affected just as much, but they're a little bit more reticent to actually say, hey, guess what, guys? I'm dealing with anxiety right now. Yes, there are men who do that. And I think those men, honestly, are some of the bravest. I love those guys because they truly are getting in touch with who they are. And I think that is awesome. And there's no shame. Like we say, we keep trying to say, there's no shame in freaking mental health issues. Let's get over this. Let's talk about it. And so that could be it. Could also be in many households, your females are dealing more with the family lifestyle with the kids. Okay, trying to pull all them together, trying to figure out what's going on with this one and make sure this one's getting this dealt with and all that. This is not, I'm talking stereotypical gender roles here. I am not talking normal all over the place. So please, no, I realize that not all families, not all people are the same. I'm just trying to figure out reasons why it's affecting women over men. Women tend to allow things to also affect us a little bit more, I think, too. Rosalind, younger teen girls tend to still talk and communicate their feelings while young men are not encouraged to do the same. Yes, we've been talking about that recently on a couple other channels. That, okay, women and young teens, we're taught from an early age with our friends, talk about your issues. It's also why most of our young teens, okay, we all remember those junior high school years that we're all in fights with our friends nonstop because we're hurting each other's emotions and feelings and all that other stuff, but it's teaching skills. Particularly high, there's couple groups that are very high risk for the mental health side of things. One were the people with young children. So those of you out there, and I know I have a couple of you out here that have very young children at home. Okay, all of a sudden, many of you were having to work while dealing with a 2-year-old. How the hell do you do that? I mean, guys, I give props galore for that. I can barely handle it with these two right now. Puppies are being quiet and the bird is locked up in his cage. And you can't lock your little kiddos up in a cage, okay? Trust me, I'm sure you guys have tried, but it doesn't quite work that way. So I definitely, those people are at a much higher risk for developing the mental health side effects that we're talking about. Because a lot of times their priority is those children. Their priority is not themselves. We talk about you can't help other people if you're not helping yourself first. If you are totally drawn out and unable to deal with things, it's going to affect other people also. And that's the issue that we have here. They are so focused at that point on their kids that they're forgetting about themselves. And Crystal, the thing is, boys tend to think that it's not okay to speak up. Girls see moms saying what she thinks and feels more often. And yes, no, I think you worded that correctly, my dear. I think you did. It's hard sometimes to word these things, trust me. Even as I try to say it, I'm like, okay, am I getting this out right? But I think, yes, you know why? I think for all these years, this is how it's been. We had this gender idea that, okay, girls can cry and show their emotions and throw temper tantrums and stuff like that about their emotions, while boys are not allowed to cry, not allowed to do this, not allowed to do that. Well, that's changing right now. And I'm not saying that everyone should be sitting here and saying, oh, woe is me and crap like that, because no, you guys know me well enough to know that, no. We have responsibility for ourselves. And at some point, you have to take responsibility for yourself and your own actions also. People will be there to help support you in that, but you have to take the lead in it. But I think what happens, we have our parents who are still from that generation from before. So we're seeing how our parents reacted. That's the whole idea. You look at the whole, cycle of abuse, things like that. You see what your parents are doing, and you just keep reacting in the same way. And it kind of fits with this whole idea of dealing with mental health, to be honest. Another group that is very highly at risk are people who already have been diagnosed with psychiatric disorders, current or past. So anyone out there who has dealt with depression, not even just right now, could be something from the past. Okay, you had a higher chance of having to deal with the side effects of lockdown, the mental health side of the isolation, of the lack of having a support bubble, the fears that led to anxiety. And so those are the two groups that truly most of your companies were looking at helping to begin with. And now they're looking out at other groups also. So two other groups that kind of fit in with this whole thing, while not necessarily listed as high risk, but I personally would see them at high risk, would be essential workers. I don't know how many of you guys in chat right now are essential workers. If you are, props for you guys, and we love you guys, because that, being an essential worker during that time period was not what people thought it was. It was hard. And I love that people supported them. And I think there were cases we should have supported them more. But I mean, I loved seeing the support that I saw out there. Essential workers had additional concerns to deal with. Them and their families. The concern that you could be bringing COVID home. I'm working on a show right now, and I have a cast member who is an essential worker. And even now that we have vaccines in place and stuff like that, and I'm finding out who's had a vaccine, who hasn't had a vaccine, just not to say, hey, you have had it and you haven't had it. It's more so people know, okay, we do have people in this group or that group, just so their own mental health also, because knowledge does help mental health. And this one person is always worried that they are going to have someone with COVID come near them. And then they are going to end up getting sick and pass it on to someone else. And that's what happened in the essential worker families. They were always scared of that. We heard the stories of people coming in, changing clothes, disinfecting, doing all that just to protect their family. That adds a huge level of stress to that family. And last is those families that had to deal with, loss of their jobs, who had to all of a sudden worry about, oh shit, we can't make our rent this month. Or we can't buy food this month. That, it may not have shown up in these stats right now, but to me, that would be huge. Knowing that you could be losing your job any moment because your boss can no longer keep the company running. Or your boss could not afford to pay you guys. And, hey, Jet's mom. And so those are definitely things that we have to look at. Those people really did get affected by this. So the next thing tied with this is, we're all getting to this point where life is moving on. Not sure. I'm not going to get into who's been vaccinated, who's not, but vaccination rates are starting to get up there. Accord 21. Oh my God. Awesome to see you. And thanks for joining, my dear. And also I love it when I see new names pop. I see them from other channels and I'm like, yay, they made their way here. But, we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And on one level, we're like, oh, guess what? It's over. We don't got to worry anymore. Life can go back to normal. And no. What they're realizing is that when there is a disaster, things don't just go back to normal. Mental health is one of those things that continues to be an issue for the long term. There was a study done for just recently, actually, for those people involved in 9/11. So they looked at 36,000 New York residents who were there at the time of the attacks, and then those people who were at the site working at the site. And here we are, 2011 versus 2021? So how many years later? Figure that one out. The numbers are still astounding how it has affected people on a mental health level. PTSD. The current rate for PTSD in the US, according to this study now, is 5%. For those who were involved in the study, it was 14%. So almost triple. Well, not triple. Yeah, you know what I mean again. 5 to 14%. Big difference there. Depression. 8% normal, 15% there. Now, of course, you add in COVID on top of that for those people, but just pull the rest of us. I said at the beginning, this is a global health issue now. This global health issue is not going to go away anytime soon. We're going to be talking again 10 years from now. And these numbers are still going to be higher than they are from before. May 2020, there was an analysis done, where they were trying to figure out, based off of everything we're seeing now and are continuing to see, what could we see happening in the future? So they pushed everything out to 2029, 2021 right now, 2029. And they're realizing there are still going to be deaths occurring on a regular basis based off of COVID-related mental health concerns due to suicide, alcohol, and misuse of drugs. Again, when I talk misuse of drugs, I'm talking globally drugs. I'm not talking just hard drugs, because the stats are actually showing it's not just the hard drugs. It's all drugs, because everyone medicates in different ways. Some people don't need to use heroin or something to medicate. They use other things. They use things from regular prescription drugs to marijuana to CBD there are many ways to self-medicate. And they are seeing by the year 2029, we are still going to be seeing these deaths occurring. So more of a reason than ever that we have to be looking at mental health. Get rid of the stigma. We've got to start working on the stigma. Okay, and all we can do with that, we can't make a national change. It's like abuse. It's like, okay, getting out there. We keep saying we're out there talking about kids and making sure kids aren't being hurt and all that, and nothing's happening. Well, you know what? All we can do is focus on our little area. If each group of us focuses on our little area, it spreads. So if we start addressing this over time, it is going to get bigger and bigger. More and more people will feel comfortable with it. It's a long road. It doesn't happen overnight, so we can't quit. We cannot quit halfway through on this. Okay, same thing with abuse. Okay, and making sure people understand what's happening out there. You cannot quit halfway just because nothing's happening with it, because it's going to happen. We're going to get rid of all this stuff, and we just got to keep working on it. So taking that, we get into, are there positives? Okay, DV Scout. Oh my God, I totally forgot DV on this. Yes, DV numbers are through the frickin' roof. I did not write those down, but I remembered reading an article, DV abuse also. Okay, one of the things we were talking about, I'm so happy you brought that one up, my dear, because one of the things that was coming up during this whole process was we were talking abuse and DV. Okay, we were hearing more and more stories. I mean, there was the story about the one little, okay, I think it was a little girl who was being abused by a family member during class, and the teacher caught it. Okay, it was all on Zoom. Think about these kids. These kids are at home. Usually they're at school. That is their one outlet that they have, the one place that they can be kids. And now it's been taken away from them. And these people that are predators to begin with just got them served up on a plate. And it kills me to know that. It kills me to know. Yes, Jet's mom. In fact, we were talking about divorce also a few minutes ago. It's definitely another one of that. DV, the stress that's going on with all of these issues we were talking about. Every one of these kids, okay, every one of these moms and dads who are dealing with all these mental health issues, there's an outlet. And it's either the outlet is going to be a positive or a negative outlet, a healthy or a not healthy outlet. The healthy ones are hopefully they're talking to people. They're finding ways to talk. The non-healthy, domestic violence. Like I said, I'm going to use words. Okay, no, I mean, there are no power behind those words. I'm not giving it power. They're just words. And I don't care what people say. And sorry. And I've always felt that way. And that might be the survivor in me. But, you know, these people are being hurt. And that's why we need to be out there so that they know that it's okay. It's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to go to people and ask for help. It's okay if you have the finances to do it, to support these groups that are out there trying to support these people. There are so many small, okay, housing groups that are there for people who are victims of domestic violence. There are so many groups that are there to help support children who are going through abuse. And yeah, Jet's mom, the stories are just, it's everywhere. And yeah, get to know everyone around you, help them, because you know, this isn't getting over. Now it's not about toilet paper. Earlier it was about going and finding out if your neighbor needed toilet paper. Now it's about going to your neighbor and just seeing if they're okay. Seeing how they're doing with everything. Just being that good old neighbor. Bring back some of those good old feelings that we used to talk about. Okay, that we joked about it for the 50s and 60s, well, 50s. We can bring those back too. I mean, we don't have to bring everything back from then, no. But we can bring back some of the good things because there's always good things. And that's what leads to the next area. The next area being positives. Okay, are there positives to all this? Yeah, there are definitely positives. A couple of you guys brought up the positives right there in Discord when I talked to everyone about it. Okay, Medical News Today, again, that magazine I was talking about earlier, the journal, they, in a survey they did, they asked a lot of their people, okay, a number of questions about COVID lockdowns and how it affected them. They asked, how many of you believe there has been a positive from social distancing? 88.6% of people said yes, there was a positive from social distancing, from the lockdowns. They did get something positive from it. Okay. Let me ask you, I probably should have asked this of you guys first. One's in chat if you guys can think of one positive thing that happened because of the lockdowns. Jet's mom, learn how to play Fortnite. There you go. There you go. I know I got so many hours into World of Warcraft. It was ridiculous. And also, one starting to pop up there. There's Scout with her one in there. And, I think that's one of the important things for us to be able to do is Rosaling one. There we go. And, it's so easy to get mired by the negative, especially nowadays, that we forget there's positive out there. And, once you can find those positives, it helps. Scout, learn patience. There you go. And that's actually where I was going to go next. What were some of these positives? Because we all have them. And if we can help share them, it's amazing how many people may not have realized, oh, shit. Yeah, I think I realized I'm more patient now than I was before also now. I might not have thought it before, but now I do. And while you guys are coming up with ideas in there, I'm going to share a little bit more on the statistics. 48% of people that replied said they have a renewed appreciation for their family. Okay, Jet's mom wants to lose her COVID mom bob this summer. There you go. And I had so much fun with my mom during this process, watching TikTok videos. Okay, Gulf Coast Mama, I know you're our TikTok girl. And I would sit there for hours with her watching TikTok videos. And you know what it was? It was the TikTok videos that connected the generations of the family. All of a sudden you had the kids and mom and dad and grandparents and aunties and uncles and stuff. And I was like, this might be a good thing because it's made us realize our family wasn't, how many of us were actually going through a whole day without even speaking to members of our family other than, oh, hi, dinner's ready. Go grab it when you have a chance or something like that. So that was definitely a good one. Rosaling, I taught myself many new knitting, and she's using them on her socks. Please come to Cantina and check that one out. They're actually awesome. And I learned how to budget your time and your money. Yes. Rosaling started a YouTube channel. Yes, for starters of YouTube channels. And quite a few of us started that. And actually, YouTube in general was a huge positive, I think, for every single one of us here. Yes, there's negatives too. But you know what? It's how you want to see it. And I have met more people that I care the world about. And I know I say that all the time. And please, it's truth. It sounds like it's the same thing over and over, but it's just something about this community that is just amazing. And YouTube brought it for us. Say, Robbie, I love you too, my dear. Mwah. Totally love you, my dear. And it's this group that if a lot of us came to YouTube at different times. Some of us were before COVID. Some of us at the beginning of COVID. Some of us at the end of COVID. Ugh, I can't even talk now, can I? No, I can't. And also, but I wish I had found YouTube earlier. I found it in the fall. I wish I had found it in summer or spring. And been able to start creating these relationships because they really would have been helpful throughout the whole process. But you know what? Better late than never. I mean, I could also still never have found it. Okay, that's where it comes down to there. And Scout, my kids learned how to really chat. Not just, yes, real chat, real talking to people. Not just, like I said, that good old fashioned, hey, your dinner's cooked over there, grab it sometime. Or, oh, you picking up the kids or I'm picking up the kids or something. But real communication with each other. Jet's mom's going to, finish her Okay, cross stitch is the last step. I know. That's why I went to diamond painting. I can finish it so much. Christola says you can't honestly say, and you know what? And that's a very valid point for some people. Like I said, mental health for me wasn't as much of an issue. Mine was more physical. For you, you had your kids. You had a lot of these things were probably no different. You may have had little bits and pieces that were different, but you learned skills for it. And that's what was important, was learning out those things. And yes, Christola, those TikTok dances were the best. And another thing that 22% of these people found was that they realized we could slow down our life. Okay, life did not have to be running at 150 miles an hour anymore. That's what life had turned into. Wake up first thing in the morning, get the kids ready for food, get them fed, get them ready for school, get yourself stuff together, get out the door, take them to school, get to work. Okay, when work is done, maybe you had enough time to go grab yourself, go to the gym. If not, you had to go pick up the kids, and then you just worked out from home, and then you did this, and then you did this, and then you did that, and then you did this. And even on your weekends, you were doing this and that and this and that and that and that. And oh my gosh, no wonder half of us can't remember half of what we did before COVID because so much was going on. COVID taught 22% of those in this survey how to slow down, how to reevaluate their life. That was one reason behind this channel. I was like, you know what? I'm at this place in my life right now where I have the time that I can look at what I need to do for myself. I can look at, started with the 4 agreements, but I can look at all these different things and try to find ways to change my life for the better. And you know what? I found this other amazing group called YouTube. And who better to take this journey with than them on YouTube? Okay, it's like Robbie. Okay, sorry, Robbie, I'm going to pull you up on this one and talk about this. He did the same thing. I did not mention this early in this, but Robbie was one of those also who talked about this. When I was talking to everyone, he mentioned some stuff, and he talked about dealing with his, sobriety in the middle of this. Okay, you look at everyone, and I just talked about what were those, rates, where people were using, substance abuse increased by 13% for new and increased substance abuse. It was the hardest time in the world to address an issue like that. It's probably been the hardest time of it ever for any of us to address any of our mental health issues. And however you grab onto it and you find people to support you through that process, and you find ways to help yourself through that, whether that's taking nice long walks or, I went down, I would go do walks as soon as I could. Of course, I hated the freaking mask, so I take the freaking mask off, but say la vie. And also, Scouting Choir, I love you to death. And also, but this is the chance for us to do those things. So you know what? Yeah. COVID lockdowns had a lot of negative side to it. They really did. Okay. And we are going to be hurting from them for quite a while. But there were also some amazing, amazing positives that have come out of this. And these positives, we can continue. You grab onto them and we can run with them. We do it as a community and we do it individually. I mean, as a community, you look at the channels that are out there right now that are like, you know what? I am going to make sure that people understand, true crime. I'm going to make sure that people know about the crimes that are going out there, because you know what? A little bit of knowledge might stop shit from happening in the future. That is coming out of COVID. This person may not have ever done this before COVID. Okay. They may be like, you know what? I am tired of the system failing people. I'm going to get out there and make sure the system stops failing people and people realize it's happening. I'm going to use my channel for that. That never would have happened before. It might have, but not for that person. That person found something they could do during this. Okay, myself, you know what? I have a lot of skills I need to brush up on because I can feel myself losing those skills. You know, maybe I can help share those skills with someone else. And guess what? They can help me with the process at the same time. So we continue doing those things. And that's what's so great about this whole thing. That's what's great about this whole community. Okay, the smile it brings to in the middle of all of this depression, anxiety, okay, feelings of loneliness and despair or whatever, we've got people. We got our people. Even if you're alone at home, okay, and you're one of those people in that isolation bubble, you got your people. You got your family, you got your ohana. So that is in a nutshell. In a nutshell. Okay, I can't talk either. And I need a drink. Yes, iced tea, people, please. Cheers. Yes, good old iced tea. Should have been drinking that longer than just then. But yeah, ooh, Adacor started trying to play guitars. There you go. There you go. How many new hobbies were picked up? Things that we never would have done before. It's amazing. And also, you can go on with this subject. It's affected so many people, but this gives us a start to it. It lets everyone know, you know, you're not alone. Pia, come here. You are so not alone. You have other people with you. Thank you, Jet's mom. And hey, Heather, welcome, my dear. And replays work too, but I'm just happy you're here, my dear. And so, you know, we all have this group that we can all hang out with. And if each one of you guys touch one or two other people in your own lives, you know, it spreads. It just continues to spread. So please, like I said at the beginning, all of us are dealing with hurts right now. We're all dealing with ways people treat us or ways we feel from being alone or shit like that. And that is when we try to deal with it on our own. You don't have to deal with it on your own. Like I said, go into my Discord. I have that whole folder that is filled with phone numbers people can contact. Okay, go in there, talk story. Use any of the Discords that you're part of, because you know what? One person was like, oh, I don't know if I should be talking about this in this Discord. I'm like, why not? There's nothing wrong with talking about your own emotions. Do it. So we are right at an hour. Yes, which gives us 1 hour to get ready. I am going to make a couple comments. Actually, I'll approach the comments about, we've got a couple new rules for Cantina tonight. So please join in as soon as possible from the beginning so you can hear those rules. I had a couple comments come to me over the last week, and I wanted to make sure this is about being a safe place for all of us. That's what we've been fighting for. And when I say we, I mean we, because it is this whole community that's creating this. So there are a couple new rules tonight. Nothing bad, nothing at all. Something all of us have control over. So it's not like, oh my God, I can't do this or I can't do, no, not like that at all. So please come though. And the other thing is, starting next week, many of you guys know I do theater and I have started rehearsals for a new show. I'm lucky that we don't have rehearsal tonight, but as of next week, we go into rehearsals Monday through Friday. So next week, I will still be doing this live because, as you can tell, it's still early here, Hawaii time. Yeah, I still have this bright sun behind me. And, but I will not be able to be here for Cantina all the time. So I have a couple people I'm working with. Cantina will continue, and I will be here for the first hour of Cantina every night, every Friday. And but please keep in touch on Discord so that we can make sure you know about it. I will also try to make a comment about it next week during this live, just so everyone knows about it, because Cantina's the best. It's the most fun. And also, awesome, Cristola. You got it. And also, awesome, Cristola. Go join that. And you know what? Everyone, like I said, everyone's always welcome to come on panel. Always welcome to come on panel. And oh, Discord. Adacor, 1 second. Let me share my link for the Discord because it only lasts for 1 week. Unless one of my mods beat me to it. We'll see who beats me to it first. Here we go. This should be the updated one, my dear. If not, let me know when we get to something else. There, hey, Rosalie is so good. She got me at the same time. Yes, Rosalie is the best, guys. She is amazing. And do check out her channel, people. People, please check out her channel. And I'm saying that over and over because while I'm saying that, I'm in the process of trying to find my copy and paste link for her, which I just did. So now I can stop saying, please check out her channel. And also, you guys, seriously, thank you so much for today. I really I'm enjoying these lives more and more as I get to hang out with you guys. Okay, it's starting to feel truly like not just me talking. I'm sharing. We're all at my house talking story right now. That's it. We're talking story at my house. So please hit that thumbs up. Please make sure to subscribe. Let me know if you need a Discord link. And I really am looking forward to getting to see all of you guys in the future. I love you guys. You guys really make my week. You really do. So thank you all so, so much. And I will see you 1 hour from now. Okay, 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. Cantina will open. So please bring anything, okay? Your drink of choice, a little food, a craft project, your nail stuff if you want to work on your nails. Okay, most importantly, bring yourself. Okay, get yourself up on panel if you feel like it. It's the most safe place you can do that in the world. And we are just going to have a blast. I love y'all, and I will see you in an hour.